Hey everyone, my name is Lily and I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm going to share with you my favorite YA 2021 fantasy debuts. So I read 29 total notable 5-star fantasy reads in 2021, and so I really had to break it up into categories so that this would not be like an hour-long video. So you've already seen one part, my YA Fantasy 2021 favorites, and after this one you'll see another one which is just dedicated to sequels because there are a lot. So today I'm just going to chat about debuts. I don't have that many, so thumbs up to one of the shorter videos on this entire playlist. These are the only 3 that I have in person. I think I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I just don't have 2 of them. And I'm just gonna start so that this video isn't as long as all the other ones. I'm gonna just start off by chatting about one of my favorite and also the special edition of The Devil Makes 3 by Tori Bovalino. Tori is someone that I actually met IRL before Tori got published. I was so happy to support Tori's debut. This is the Illumicrate edition, by the way. Tori has a bunch of really beautiful covers. The US, the UK, and this Illumicrate redesigned edition with this spot gloss, and it's very difficult to show it to you. But stained edges, or whatever they're called, sprayed edges, and also this gorgeous kind of water marbling inside. It is fantastic. And let me just start with a brief summary. It says, when Tess and Elliot stumble across an ancient book hidden in a secret tunnel beneath their school library, they accidentally release a devil from his book-bound prison. And he'll stop at nothing to stay free. He'll manipulate all the ink in the library books to do his bidding, he'll murder in the stacks, and he'll bleed into every inch of Tess's life until his freedom is permanent. So, yeah, permanent. I thought it said something else. I really love this one, especially I think if you're a fan of academic YA. They're definitely, okay, I'm not actually sure what dark academia is, if there was a check mark. I feel like sometimes it's just fantasy with a little bit of death in YA, also in school settings. So if that kind of is what it is, this definitely has that vibe. What I really loved about The Devil Makes 3 are a few things. The first one that is something that has stuck with me since I've finished it was how atmospheric and creepy, and I got actual kind of shivers when I read The Devil Makes 3, because the way that, so it is the devil, as I said already, but in a very much, it kind of felt like a psychological, supernatural horror tinge to it. So if those are your vibes, you definitely read this. The atmosphere, as I said, was just fantastic. And I really loved Tess and Elliot's main relationship. I loved that we were able to get a glimpse at Tess and Elliot as 2 different people and kind of what brings them together besides mutual hardship. But also who they are as characters, and specifically the trauma and their past that kind of create who they are at the moment that they meet each other. So it has fabulous characters, and it has a fabulous kind of fantasy world that is kind of scary. And as I said, Tori is one of my favorite authors / people on the planet, so I really love The Devil Makes 3. The next one is A Dragon Bird in the Fern. This is a really hard cover to film because it is so shiny, but I really loved A Dragon Bird in the Fern, and I've talked a lot about why I really loved A Dragon Bird in the Fern. I did a panel also with Tori and with Laura, so I'll leave the link below for you. That was one of my first panels I ever did, so nostalgic. But what I really loved about A Dragon Bird in the Fern is that the main character is going on an adventure. Let's start with a summary so that you can get a little bit of the backstory behind what I'm gonna say. Basically, Scylla's when an assassin kills Princess Yara's older sister Scylla, her vengeful ghost is doomed to walk their city of glittering canals, tormenting loved ones until the murderer is brought to justice. So basically, as it says, Yara's sister Scylla is murdered. And so then her ghost is haunting the castle, and also kind of doing really mundane things at the beginning, kind of practical joke-esque things, but it sort of starts to escalate, and that's the whole one part of the fantasy thing is the ghost. And the ghosts, as soon as they're not brought to justice, they keep escalating sort of what they can do and their power. So basically, Yara has to go and find the murderer, or try to find the murderer, to also help her sister, but also help her family and everyone who lives in the castle. And because of that, she finds some evidence that may suggest that Scylla's former betrothed, which isn't the name of the kingdom here, former betrothed who comes to meet and is kind of like, well, I guess I'm not getting married to your daughter anymore. One of the betrothed people from the kingdom may be involved in her sister's murder. So then she decides to then take her place. Yes, to take her place so that she can unravel the mystery. So there are a lot of things that I really loved about Dragonbird and the Fern, but the first one that I talked about, which I will go back to, was this idea of leaving your home. I felt that Yara's sense of nostalgia, but also when you go into a country where you don't speak the language and not knowing kind of how to relate to people and what things are called, it is like unsettling in a way that I find it really difficult to describe, and also how language plays such an important role in not only communication with other people, but in how you see yourself as well. All of that kind of leaving home, new culture, assimilation stuff, and Yara's difficulties with that. Specifically also, Yara is dyslexic, so learning languages is so hard for her. All of those things combined really is the thing that makes me love A Dragonbird and the Fern the most. Also, though, I really loved the fantasy and the sister, like her love for her sister and her love for her family as well, even though her sister is, you know, not as present because it's pretty clear that she is dead. But anyway, I really love that aspect as well. But I think Yara and Yara's struggle fitting in and learning a new country and new language and customs and everything like that, that one really resonated with me, which is why I loved Dragonbird and the Fern. The next one is To Break a Covenant. This gives me serious Silent Hill vibes. So basically the comp titles for this were Wilder Girls and Saltkill Girls, both two of my like favorite darker, scarier, kind of horror-ish books. I'm a huge horror baby, so don't know if this was a good idea to read, but I read To Break a Covenant and I loved it. So as I said, it gives me Silent Hill vibes. So basically Moon Basin is haunted. It has this mine thing below, and ages and ages ago there was an explosion in the mine which killed a bunch of people, 16 people. So you can't live in the town, and so there's like ash in the sky. Hello, Silent Hill vibes. Anyway, so then they're going to be kind of documentaries. So it kind of revolves around two main characters, I guess. Not two main characters. It's a group of characters. But anyway, one of the characters' father is going to go back into the mine and kind of figure out if they can make it like not as dangerous, toxic, you know, anything. But he ends up going missing. Or does he end up going missing? He doesn't end up going missing, sorry. He ends up like coming back a changed man, is how I will describe that. And so altogether this group of friends has to figure out if they can get to the bottom of what happened or what is happening to their friend's father, but also to the town as a whole. So there are a few things that I really loved about To Break a Covenant. The first one has to be the atmosphere. Silent Hill is one of those movies that kind of deeply traumatized me as a child / teen. When did I watch it? Yeah, as a preteen, I think, is when I saw Silent Hill, and then developed many fears from that movie. But that vibe and that mining vibe, like To Break a Covenant was a perfect example of when the setting becomes a character. So when this mine / like atmospheric, suspenseful, terrifying place becomes a character in a variety of different ways, but a character to the characters in the book. And secondly, I also really love this found family, this friendship found family group that they have. I thought it was really amazing to see all of these characters. Some are friends and like some of them are new friends come together and also try to help people and save people and, you know, become friends. But I think also the third thing that I really loved is that in To Break Covenant, there's a lot of these passages about the documentary series that have been made about Moon Basin. So it almost feels like super meta. It feels super like immersive, I think. These passages about the documentaries and interviews and everything like that, they almost feel like you're watching them as they happen, and they also are very cleverly giving more pieces about the history and the atmosphere and also the other characters in it all. So it is very fantastic in that way to give more world building and more information about the world. And that is definitely why I really loved that one, because I felt like that one really, or that aspect of it really is unique, and it gave a better insight into the characters and the world. The next one that I want to talk about is the Bone Spindle, which is actually a 2022 release that I read in 2021, but it's about Fee and Shane and Briar Rose, these are 3 characters. It's basically described to me, and I think it's a great comparison, as Sleeping Beauty meets Indiana Jones meets a fairy tale retelling. If you like all of those things, you just have to read this book. But basically, it's Fee, who's a bookish treasure hunter, Shane, who is a warrior from the north who has some secrets of her own, and Briar Rose, who is a prince under a sleeping curse who's waiting for a kiss that will wake him up. How can they possibly come together for this? What I loved when this was how swept away I was, okay? I love treasure hunting, I love Sleeping Beauty retellings. Well, actually, okay, I don't love Sleeping Beauty retellings, I love fairy tale retellings. I don't necessarily love Sleeping Beauty for a variety of reasons. But anyway, I loved the atmosphere and the treasure hunting vibes, like all of those puzzles. They were fabulous. If you really love that aspect of the Gilded Wolves, you have to read the Bone Spindle. And the second reason is that Fee and Shane, or Fi and Shane, their friendship that kind of blossoms and grows was like so precious. And I love when friendships form and you can see them form, even though both of them, you know, through multiple perspectives, they have vulnerabilities and fears and secrets that they're hiding, but they're not really saying it. And it was just really fabulous to watch their friendship and kind of evolve. And also there's a queer romance as well in this one. It is just so fabulous. And yeah, if you love treasure hunting books, you just have to read it. And the last one is Within These Wicked Walls. I love Within These Wicked Walls so much. It is a Jane Eyre retelling with also exorcism. So Andromeda is of Deptera. She's an exorcist hired to cleanse households of the evil eye. Basically, she gets contacted by a handsome young heir who is Magnus Rochester to come and rid his house of demons, or not demons. I don't know if they're technically called demons, but anyway, cleanse his house. And so that's the basis of it, and that's the kind of Jane Eyre vibes, because there's a lot of secrets about the house and Magnus Rochester. This fixes everything I don't like about Jane Eyre and makes it 100 times better. If you were not sure about picking this up because you're not a fan of Jane Eyre, you have to pick this up. Basically, it fixes the fact that like that really, really eerie kind of creepy stuff that Rochester does, fixes it. Magnus Rochester in this one is so cute and adorable. And also, Jane's character, but like the name of Andromeda in the book, is so fabulous. I think the exorcism really brings out the gothic supernatural elements that are not as prevalent in Jane Eyre as I wanted it to be. Did I want it to be like a supernatural gothic? Yes. Was it more like a gothic with some supernatural aspects? Yes. But I wanted it to be more like this. I just loved it so much because I was like kind of wary about it because I'm not a big fan of Jane Eyre. I loved it. I basically am selling it to people. I was like, if you didn't like Jane Eyre, because it is so fabulous, the exorcism / fantasy element in this is really, really cool, really, really kind of scary. And I loved it so much because of the way that it swept me away. And I could not stop reading it because I loved it so much. And I loved how much it was able to like make me care about a plot structure or like a story that I thought I was familiar with and was like meh about, and now I'm just like, this is the true Jane Eyre to me. Or not the true Jane Eyre, but like the true version of the retelling that I wanted it to be. Amazing, loved it. So that brings me to the end of my video about these YA 2021 fantasy debuts. I love these books so much. I love supporting debuts when I can, and you definitely should check them out and read them. Please let me know one of your favorite like YA fantasy debuts. It doesn't have to be from 2021. Down below, I'd love to check them out. And thank you all for watching this shorter one, I hope. Fingers crossed. I'm so excited to see you in the next part of my videos and also the next like fantasy favorite videos. Okay, bye!